Okay, let's try adding some masks and adjustment layers to this dance scene. Let's say we want to blur their faces, and we want that blur to follow them. And how we can do that. So let's see. So the first thing we want to do is we want to draw um, a mask around his head. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over into this area here in the timeline area, right click, new, and adjustment layer. Okay, so now we have the adjustment layer on top. So everything that we do to this adjustment layer will affect what's down below it. So once we, here, let me just do a quick, to show you here, we'll just do a circle. Since we want to blur his face, right there's the circle, and we'll go up here to Effect, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm over here, and I'm going to blur it. You can see it just totally gives that total blur right there. And we're going to give it a keyframe, and then we'll move it. So then we want to go over here, select that mask. That way it selects all these points and move it down. And make sure it gets a keyframe, which it didn't, because we want to give the keyframes for the key mask. That's why. So we'll key the mask there. We'll move it up here. We'll move it here, and then we'll move it here. And we see we have our two keyframes. It's a little bit down here, so let's move it down here. And you can see it follows a little bit better. Okay, now let's undo those. Now let's say we want that shape to be very close to his head, so we're going to want to do the pen tool. So make sure that adjustment layer is selected. Let's go to the pen tool. Let's try to zoom in. I'm using my mouse button going upward to zoom in. So I want to get really in close to his face. It's space bar for the hand tool to get his face real close up. And let's click a point and then click, hold, you left click and drag, and then hold that, and then we're going to click the next point and do the same thing. We're going to click and drag until you can get the shape right. Click and drag, click and drag. Let's go up around his head a little bit more this way. There we go. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Let's try to go around his ear, and click and drag. And then once you click that last one, that should give you that should close it. And if you hit the option on a Mac, it'll give you this tool right here. It should also be up here underneath the pen tool, under the convert vertex tool. So we can grab that handle there and break it, and then you can see you can kind of do with it what you will, and it won't affect this one. And you can break them, any of them, if you need to, but sometimes it just makes it worse. So we don't need that one broken. However, I do want the selection tool to move this one, and that one looks like it got out of place. Okay, so now we got a really good selection on his face. Let's see, did we blur that yet? It's so hard to tell. This is bad, but we'll do Effect, blur and sharpen, Gaussian blur, and we'll just make it highlighted. Yeah, we better not go too dark or we won't be able to see his face. We'll go there. All right, so let's go back down. I'm going to hit MM. That'll close it, and then MM again. And like I said, I want to do a keyframe for the mask path. I'm going to move it. And I'm going to select that mask path again to make sure all those points are selected. That way I can move this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I might have to move these a little bit because his face changes, so I'm going to have to go in there and change these points a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to have to select off of it now. So select path. Sometimes you have to select off and then back on to the point. And then move the points around a little bit each one. Try to get the shape right. Okay. And now I'll move to the next one. Hit the space bar. Zoom out a little bit. So, you know, if I click there, it just clicks one keyframe. If we move that, it'll just move one instead of all of them. So now we want to move all of them. So let's go down here and click on the mask path again. If you click right over here where the mask path is, down here in the timeline, that will select all of the keyframes. And it automatically gives me a selection tool, and I can just move it. And we'll zoom in again. Click off. Now, once I click off, once you see this, that means it's selecting the mask. And I don't want to do that. So let's go back here and click the mask again, click off, and then click some points, whichever ones you want to move. Change it around a little bit, whatever needs it. There we go. Okay. All right, let's go to the next frame. But over here, select that path. Move the points around a little bit to fix it. Okay. Now this part right here is really tricky. And we're just going to skip that over that part right now and just still select that mask path right over here. We're just going to skip this because eventually we don't want that mask affecting her at this point. So let's change the points. Sometimes it might get real messy. We'll try to keep it a head shape for now, because on our the next one, we want it to be close to his head shape. So that's why we're not going to mess with that section in between here right now. Like I said, we'll probably want to go back and maybe about there. All right, select mask path, move it over, fix our points. Doing it really rough roughly here. So you can get the idea. Okay, we'll do a little more here. Mask path. Move it. Okay, let's kind of see about how that looks. Close. But it still kind of doesn't follow quite right. So we're going to go in between now. See where it's still way off. Let's just move that down in there. Make sure it's following a little bit better. See there, it's pretty off. Let's put it up in there. Okay, right there. Even though we're not really going to use that one. Looks like it's a little bit off here. And then down. Okay, that looks pretty good. You can see it follows pretty decent there. Now right there is where it gets complex because we don't want it to move into her head. So right there is the last one, so we're going to try to go in here and change these points so it doesn't mask over her area. This could probably be a little more time consuming than what I'm doing here. Like on this one, let's kind of move this one a little bit away from his face. Okay, oh yeah, her head's right over here. Something like that. And we could, on the next frame, just maybe even try the opacity. Just turn it off. So we're going to have to give it 100% opacity here. And then here, since we can't see it at all, we'll put it to 0 there. And then we'll turn back on here. One way to cheat. Either that or just kind of get these to fit around the head like this. So you just see the little glimpse of his face. Something like that. Okay. Now let's go back in and we'll go back and change that effect. So effect, blur. Oh, here it is. It's already there. We'll just really blur his face out there. Okay, you kind of see, not perfect right through there, but you can kind of get the idea. And I guess while I'm here, we can also, with that same layer, we could blur her face as well. I'm not going to go in with the pen tool on this one. I'm just going to show you how it works, because it'll give you the same, if you want that same amount of blur to her face, you could add the pen tool, another pen tool for another mask. So we'll just make a circle here, and down here you'll see mask 2. So that'll be her mask. So let's say we want to animate it. So we'll click the stopwatch for keyframe. And let's move it to fit her. Let's move up here. Down. So it kind of misses it there. So you can kind of see about how to do that. And that's it for on this one.